Did you know that only 14% of Americans ever hit $100,000 in savings? And for people under 35, the average savings is just over $11,000. That's why in today's video, I'll show you exactly how I saved my first $100,000 step by step so that you can just copy me. The first step we need to go over is what most people get wrong about saving their first 100K. If you're only relying on a 9-to-5 job to get that $100,000, you probably have bills to pay, and saving that $100,000 is almost impossible. If you have a job, you know what I'm talking about. Wages unfortunately haven't kept up with rising costs in rent, food, and gas, which is eating up every paycheck. That's why you have to find another way. The truth is, most people will only ever realistically get to $100,000 saved through some sort of side hustle with smart investment strategies. That's exactly what I did in high school, and that's a common theme that I hear among other people who also got to that number relatively young. Back in high school, here's what I did. I started faceless Instagram pages. For those who don't know, I just posted infographics teaching people about finance. At first, I made $5 to $10 a month. That was like month 3, by the way. But after 6, 7, 8 months, I made a few $100s in a month. Then I made a few thousand. And here's the key. I didn't take that money and blow it on a new car or on food or vacations. I treated it like it didn't exist. Every dollar I made went straight into savings and investments. And yes, that does take discipline. But that choice, not just the hustle itself, pushed me to $100,000 faster than I ever thought was possible. Number 1, pick a simple side hustle. Don't overcomplicate it. There are hundreds of ways to make money online nowadays, regardless of how old you are or where you're from. My side hustle was faceless Instagram pages. Nowadays, I wouldn't really say that's the way to go. Yours could be selling a website design online. It could be tutoring or flipping items, maybe even TikTok Shop. I have a friend who started TikTok Shop 2 years ago as a side hustle, and nowadays I see him posting a new car, a new house, a home gym. And that just goes to show these side hustles can sometimes turn into something more than we'd expect. But the lesson here is to pick something low cost and something that you can start today. Number 2, stack income on top of a job if possible. And while you're making money on the side, don't make the mistake of upgrading your lifestyle. A lot of people fall into this trap when they're younger, buying things that impress others that they don't really care about. New cars, designer clothes, and going out. It feels good in the moment, but it kills your ability to save. Take car payments as an example. A $400 monthly payment on a car to look cool in front of your friends adds up to nearly $5,000 a year disappearing. If you had invested that same $400 each month instead, over 10 years with the average S&P 500 returns, you'd be sitting on over $80,000. That's the thing that most people don't ever realize about investing consistently every month. So keep your job and let it cover your basic needs, and then use the extra money from your side hustles to accelerate your savings through investments. Number 3, pay yourself first. This is for the people who really can't help themselves but take some of the profits that come in from the business. I would set a hard rule of, let's say, 50% of your side hustle income to go straight into your savings and investments. No debate, no, I'll save what's left after I spend on whatever it is. I recommend automating this transfer through your bank so you never have the chance to overspend. So that means if I made $1,000 in a month from my side hustle, $500 would automatically get transferred into my savings account before I could ever touch it. Number 4, use a high yield savings account. If you leave that hard-earned money at a big bank like Chase or Wells Fargo, you'll earn about 0.01%, which is almost nothing. That's $1 for every $10,000 you put into the bank. Taking that money and instead putting it in an HYSA is great for people who want a place to grow their cash without risking it in the stock market. Maybe you just want to save and not invest because it feels too risky. For example, if you put $500 a month into SoFi's HYSA at 3.8%, you'd reach $100,000 in just a little over 13 years of saving. And if you doubled your saving to $1,000 a month, you'd hit $100,000 in about 7 years and 4 months at 3.8% APY. Putting your money in an HYSA is definitely the first thing I would recommend that you do with your side hustle income. With this HYSA, I would make sure you've got an emergency fund. A good rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash. If you're single with a steady income, 3 months might be fine. If you've got a family or unpredictable income, lean closer to that 6-month mark. This way, you won't be forced to sell things at a bad time just because life threw you a curveball. If you don't have one yet, you can use the link in my description to get up to a $300 sign-up bonus with SoFi. Number 5, invest consistently. Now let's take those same numbers and see how they would differ if we put them into the stock market instead of a high yield savings account. We're not going for anything fancy here, so we'll use the S&P 500 index fund as an example. Historically, it's returned around 10% per year before inflation or 6 to 7% after inflation. If you put $500 into the S&P 500 at an average 7% return, you'd have $100,000 in about 11 years and 3 months. And if you doubled that to $1,000 a month, you'd reach $100,000 in about 6 years and 8 months. $500 a month into an HYSA at 3.8%, 13 years to 100,000. So if you're comfortable with some risk, investing in something broad like the S&P 500 can get you to that $100,000 goal faster. If you prefer safety and guaranteed growth, an HYSA still works, it just takes longer. I personally keep my emergency fund in the HYSA and the rest goes into investments. The right choice depends on your risk tolerance and your financial goals. And if you're looking for a place to start, I'll leave my favorite brokerage, Webull, in the description below, and you can get some free money when you sign up as well. 100K unlocked. What happens next? Once you hit that first 100K, life will be different. Emergencies turn into inconveniences, not total emergencies, and you go to work with more confidence knowing that you've got options. You also unlock new opportunities like having money to start a business, a down payment on real estate, or simply just more breathing room to invest. That's why this milestone matters so much. It's not just money in the bank, it's freedom and momentum. So if you're watching this and you feel behind, don't. You don't need to hit $100,000 overnight. Just be consistent with whatever you do in terms of your side hustle. Consistency beats luck every time. So here's the recap of how I got to my first $100,000 and how you can too. Find a side hustle. Stack that income on top of your job. Pay yourself first if you have to. Save as much as you can in a high yield savings account like SoFi. Then invest as much as you can after you have an emergency fund. That's the exact path that I took to my first 100K. And I hope you guys found this video helpful. If it was, please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, comment which side hustle you plan on starting. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.